Gonna talk about this past weekend's New Japan events, which were both pretty good in my opinion. I haven't made a New Japan specific video since the Okada and Kiyomiya angle started. They also continue to build that angle up well, where Pro Wrestling Noah has made the match between Okada and Kiyomiya, but Okada keeps denying that it's gonna happen. Okada still wants no part of it because Kiyomiya hasn't earned it, a shot at him, he says, and also because of the actions Kiyomiya took in that match. So I like that they continue to leave question marks about what will actually happen with that match. And yeah, just really love the Noah and New Japan working relationship, especially where this match is concerned. Let's break down some of the new beginning build where they will have their big event this next weekend in Osaka. This past weekend is where we had two events to kind of build towards that more. One of my favorite builds has been Ishimori versus Wato, where Wato continues to just get the best of him. We had a tag match where Wato pinned him, although the next match, Ishimori did get some revenge, where using a turnbuckle that was off and hitting Wato into the turnbuckle to kind of get using the good old metal turnbuckle for the win. Some classic pro wrestling device there. But yeah, I think that's actually one of the matches I'm looking forward to most, because I really do think they've done a good job with the build to that match. Another pretty good build they've been doing over the past month for sure has been Tama Tonga versus El Phantasmo. Tonga is the open weight champion, and Phantasmo is going to be getting a shot at him. Phantasmo has come across really well lately as this kind of half joker, but also a really good heel. On February 5th's event, we had El Phantasmo, Gato, Jay White versus Gorillas of Destiny. This match was not only a good use to build up the Phantasmo versus Tonga match, but also building up Jay White versus Hikuleo. They're going to be putting their careers on Japan on the line. The rumor, of course, is that Jay White will be leaving New Japan, and that is why they are having this match, and that Hikuleo will be going over Jay White here, and Jay White will be leaving Japan. But this match, where Hikuleo and Jay White went at it during the match really well, but after the match, El Phantasmo hits Tonga with his own belt. Also this past weekend though, we'd had some pretty good matches, I will say. We had some solid matches. Taichi and Will Ospreay went out and beat the absolute crap out of each other. I really enjoyed the spot where Will Ospreay just keeps elbowing him and like 12 times and almost knocking him out. The ref had to do a 10 count, wouldn't even let Ospreay cover. That was of course right before the end where Ospreay would get the win. It's good to see Taichi in a match like this, because there's been some past years where he's not the funnest to watch, even though I like the more sports entertainment part of his character sometimes. Francesco Akira and TJP put their junior tag titles on the line against DOUKI and Kanemaru, which was, I really like the story this told, where Catch-22 was just a step off this entire match, and usually TJP likes to work some limbs, but he was getting his knee worked over. They do pull out the win in the end. That match was actually probably my favorite match of the weekend. I talk some crap about how you can see on any given show, turn on any wrestling show and see a tag team match where there's just a bunch of high flying action, a lot of kickouts. I was talking crap about the opening of Impact last week, where everybody was praising that match, but I felt like it was a dime a dozen. Meanwhile, this match actually did work more psychology into their match, and that's why I enjoyed it. One of my favorite matches of the past week, actually, was Catch-22 defending their titles here. And then on the second night, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ishii for the TV title. The 15-minute time limit adds so much stakes to a match that you could just feel the audience's nervous energy towards the last 5 minutes of that match. I love when matches have this sort of stipulation. But I also like that it's not every match like this, because then it would take away from it if every match had a short time limit. You wouldn't get as high of a stakes, so that when you do have a match that is just a 15-minute time limit, really raises the stakes, really makes you want to see what happens the last 5 minutes of the match, and that's what this match did very well. This was another enjoyable match this past weekend. I liked that it really went down to the last minute, and during the last few minutes, Ishii was getting the advantage of Zack Sabre Jr. There was even a kick out by Ishii with like 50 seconds left, but Sabre Jr. did pull out the victory during the dying seconds of this match. Night one, a lot of people are kind of crapping on Naito versus Unmino, and I kind of agree. It was, I guess, a slower kind of match compared to everything else on the card that night. It wasn't that bad, but I certainly wasn't that into it. And then the main event of night two was Takahashi versus Yo. This match was a mixed bag for me, because I appreciate completely how they made me root for Yo despite me not being totally into New Japan over the past 3 years. I was definitely rooting for Yo here, and by the end, when he loses, you're pretty disappointed. But that is the makings of a good wrestling match. However, I do complain a lot about too many kickouts in a match, and I felt like this match did have like too many kickouts. That kind of took me out of it, and basically you kind of knew the ending before the past few minutes actually went through because of the kickouts. You kind of knew Takahashi was going to retain at that point. But it tells the story of Yo continuing to build himself into a better, more well-rounded wrestler, and he falls short here despite the confidence. I think New Japan has been trying to find its groove back. I'm sure New Japan diehards would disagree with me and disagree with others when we say it's become very stale since COVID. But during the last few months that I've been watching it more, I definitely see that it's getting better and better once again. And I'm also relearning that as much as I hate multiple man tag matches in American wrestling because they usually don't mean anything, New Japan at least tries to make the multiple man tag matches mean something by kind of building the angles that they're building towards in these match, by having people that are going to be going against each other in singles competition kind of either slug it out during the multiple man tag matches, or the heels will do something dastardly to the faces during the matches. I find that within the multiple man tag matches in New Japan, you get more little moments where two wrestlers that are going to be going head to head get those little moments to either against each other in the match or to mess with each other in the match that I appreciate. So all around, I really enjoyed this past weekend of New Japan, and I think New Japan is about to have a really good February. I can see that New Japan really growing in my rankings because this past weekend was good. They're building well to this next weekend's card. And then we also have the New Japan and Noah stuff still going on. So New Japan is getting its groove back.